Please welcome Victoria Wood.
Hello. Well, here we are then. We made it. We're out of the house. We said that's it, Tuesday night. We're coming out. We are not sitting in front of the television eating pizza straight out of the box, scraping bits of cold mozzarella cheese off the inside of the lid 2 hours later and eating them. We're coming out. We want glamour, glitter, excitement. But we're here now. Thank you very much for coming. Welcome to the beautiful, my favourite venue, the Royal Albert Hall. And I'm really pleased to be here. This is the third time that I've played the Royal Albert Hall, and it's probably the last time I'll play it. And when they asked me to come back again, I said, well, I will have to have a set, because I have to have something between me and that huge organ, because it's very distracting. So they're giving me this, which I think is very nice, but it's been sent back twice because the lettering was wrong. The first time the lettering was wrong, the second time the spacing was wrong. It said Victoria Wood, a tit again. Anyway, so I'm really pleased to be here. And the woman that runs this place, she's really nice to me. She said, when she knew I was coming back, she said, do we need to make any special security arrangements? Are you likely to get mobbed? I said, I don't think so. I said, I do have fans, you know, but I don't have mad fans. I don't have people hanging around my house trying to drink my bathwater or anything like that. No, I said to the woman, I said, you don't need to make any special arrangements for me. You know, I don't think of myself as any sort of celebrity. You know, to me, celebrities are sort of other people, who sort of very showy, offy people who behave in a really bizarre way, like they're always getting drunk and dancing naked on tables, which I don't want to do. Anyway, the tables at Pizza Hut are very wobbly. But they always give their children really strange names, don't they? They can't just call their babies things like Bob and Chris. They have to be things like Mercedes and Rainforest. You see, if I was a proper celebrity, I'd have to have at least 4 children, 1 naturally, 2 adopted, 1 from sperm sent in by a well-wisher. And I'd call them Pinky Perky, monosodium glutamate, and Satsuma. But I said to the woman, I said, just suppose, suppose I'd been in hospital or something again and I hadn't have been able to do these shows, what would you put in instead of me? And she said, well, she would have had to have taken Debbie McGee's Travelling Ballet Show, starring Wayne Sleep, with Paul Daniels doing the first half. And I said, well, you're lucky I could come then. I said, because I've heard this thing about Paul Daniels, and I don't know if it's true, and you're not to tell anybody else, but this is what I heard about Paul Daniels. You know he used to wear a toupee, and he was on television the whole time, he was really successful. And now he doesn't wear it anymore, and you don't really see him so much. Well, it turns out that all Paul's conjuring abilities were in his toupee. And Debbie McGee stopped him wearing it, so it's a bit of sort of Samson Delilah situation. Because, I mean, however nice a toupee is, and his was a nice one, it always slightly looks like a little small furry animal is curled up on top of your head and is having a nap. And she didn't want him to wear it anymore, so she said he couldn't wear it. And he said, well, could he keep it as a pet? And she said, well, all right then. Well, it could cope with the cat flap, but it couldn't manage the litter tray. And also, they had a next-door neighbour who had a gerbil. And every time Paul Daniels went round there for a cup of tea, this gerbil would get very excited. Because it was actually sexually attracted to the top of Paul Daniels' head. And every time Paul Daniels went round, the gerbil would be at the front of the cage going, oh, darling, over here, I'll see you later. So Debbie said, that's it, it's got to go. So she took it to the Oxfam shop, and that's when they discovered that all Paul's conjuring abilities were in the toupee. Too late. When she went to get it back, it had been stolen. Because she'd done that thing you're not supposed to do. She left it outside the Oxfam shop when the Oxfam shop was shut. Now, there's always that sign on the door, isn't there? Do not leave items outside the Oxfam shop. It is shut. They will be stolen. And you think, well, how can they be so dogmatic about it? How do they know they will be stolen? It doesn't say they might be stolen. Somebody might rummage around with them. No, they will be stolen. And that's because the woman that wrote the notice is the woman doing the stealing. And I think if they went to the house of the woman who runs that Oxfam shop, she would be there with Paul Daniels' toupee on, giant playing cards, doves behind her lapels, doing his whole show. Well, now Paul Daniels can't remember the end of any trick without his toupee, and he's getting up people out of the audience on Debbie McGee's Travelling Ballet Show, getting a man up out of the audience, putting him in a cabinet, locking it, padlocking it, turning it around, unpadlocking, unlocking it, turning around. man's gone. Now, Paul can't remember what happens after that. So all over the country, in little theatres under the stage, men are going, hello? And you think the wives would be like really fed up. You know, the husbands have disappeared halfway through the show. They're going to the box office complaining. No, they're not bothered. They're glad to be rid of them. Because it's quite a well-known fact in show business that the sort of man who volunteers for somebody's magic act is often quite an obnoxious sort of a person. And the wives are glad to be shot of them. They're driving home, they're putting the toilet lid down. They're walking around in just their tights and no bra, scratching, having a go. Meanwhile, poor old Deborah McGee, she's got to carry on with her travelling ballet show. Luckily, she's small. Paul Daniels is small. Wayne Sleep is small. They don't need a huge tour bus. They're all on a motorbike. She's driving. They're in the sidecar. But I feel sorry for poor old Deborah McGee. What has she done wrong in this world, really? She fell in love with a bald magician. We've all done that. But the reason I had to cancel all my shows in the first place was I had this lump. Well, I didn't know I had a lump, but in the end, that's what it turned out to be. I had this lump. And the Daily Mirror got hold of it. That was painful in itself. They did. They got hold of my lump and they put it all over the front page of the Daily Mirror, and I was so embarrassed. And they were desperate to get a story on me when I went into the hospital, and I wouldn't let them have one. So they sent 2 men into the hospital dressed as oil sheikhs to try and get a story on me. Which is, you know, which is stupid. They stood out a mile. This was a gynecology ward. But when I first got something wrong with me, I didn't know I had anything wrong with me, because the first thing I noticed was I just got a bit bigger, and I thought, well, there you are, you know, I've just got a bit bigger. I'll have to get some new clothes. And I'm thinking, now, what size am I now? You know, because I wasn't sure. Like 16, 18. Look at Vanessa Feltz. She looks about to be the same size as me. She's a size 12, oddly enough. And, Anyway, I know I'm different sizes in different shops. 16 in some shops, 18 in some shops. In Gap, I'm only a size 12 because they're American. In Marks and Spencer's, I'm only a size 3 because they don't want to upset anybody. And in Topshop, my hip set off an alarm as I go through. There's a big middle-aged woman trying to get in. There's a grill coming down. Whoa! I go, please, it's not for me, it's my daughter. No, we can't help you. Go, go, go. Evans is round the corner, please, go there. But I didn't realise at first there was anything wrong with me. I just felt a bit strange, and I remember saying to my friend, I don't feel good, and she said, have you ever thought it might be fibroids? I said, fibroids? That's a breakfast cereal, isn't it? Keeps you trim on the outside and regular on the inside. And she said, well, if you get them and they go really, really big and bad, you have to have an operation. And I said, oh, what? She said, you have to have a hysterectomy. I said, you have to have a what? She said, you have to have a hysterectomy. I said, I'm not having one of those. I said, it's not even a proper word. So it's got half its letters missing. It's got a big hole in the middle, appropriately enough. Come on, keep up. And, no, but I remembered what she said like months later, you know, when I was in casualty and I was lying in this cubicle, and this consultant came and he said, I looked at your scans, you know, it doesn't look good, you're going to have an operation. And I said, oh, what? He said, you've got to have a hysterectomy. But at the time, you know, I just put it down to the menopause, you know, because I was that age, and I put everything down to the menopause now. Tiredness, irritability, global warming. Well, it could be, couldn't it? 200 lady Eskimos all having a hot flush at the same time. Whoa! No, and I was used to going a bit mad, you know, once a month. I was used to all that. I was used to that cycle, you know, you're all right, you get your period, you've got your period. I love you, I hate you, I'm really sorry, I'm really... And I'd identified a little mini cycle within that when you go like this because you're ovulating. I'm all right, I get my period, I've had my period, I'm ovulating. I love you, I'm really sorry, I get out of it. And I thought, well, that's all right, you know, I'll have all that. And then that'll stop, and then I'll get my menopause. But what I didn't realise was, you get all this, I'm having my period, I'm really... And at the same time, you get your menopause coming the other way. So you're going, all right, I get my period, I've had my period, I'm ovulating. Is it hot or is it me? What have I come in here for? But it got so bad with me that in the end, there was only 17 minutes in a month when anybody could get any sense out of me. So they're all queuing up for those 17 minutes. Because they know that'll be nice and reasonable and won't burst into tears. So they're all queuing up. We've got everybody. We've got carol singers in April. Deck the halls, yes, come in. I've got those men who go door to door selling the dusters. Yes, I'll have your dusters, yes, and your ironing board cover, anything you like. My children are queuing up. Can I go to Ibiza even though I'm only 12? Yes, of course you can, my darling. Can I have another 2 Game Boys? Yes, of course you can, my darling. My husband's at the back of the queue. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. Yes, can we have sex tonight? Oh, ping time's up. What have I come in here for? And I thought, I can't go on like this, driving everybody mad. And I had this self-help book, Women Who Go Bonkers and the Men Who Can't Stand Them. And it said that Japanese women, they don't get any of this hormonal, they don't get any of this PMT, they don't get anything like that. They get pins and needles a lot because they're always sitting on their feet making little pots of tea, but they don't get PMT. And it said the reason they don't get it is because they eat a lot of things made out of soya beans. They eat a lot of things like tofu. Now, I don't know if you've ever been in a restaurant and you've seen on the vegetarian section tofu, and you think, oh, I'll have that. So you order that and everybody else orders liver and chips or whatever they're having. So you're eating yours, they're eating theirs. They've finished theirs, you're still eating yours. They're on the pudding, you're still on the tofu. They're on the coffee, you're still on the tofu. They're on the pavement, the chairs are on the tables, you're still on the tofu. It's the most boring taste in the world. Everything made out of soybeans is really boring. The Japanese don't know what to do to get people to buy them. They've tried everything to make them interesting. They painted little faces on them, bow ties, hair extensions. Nobody wants to know. They've even tried marketing them and putting them in the chiller cabinet quite near the Sunny Delight. Just to, make them look a bit more interesting because that's like our most popular drink ever. In fact, British mothers have just got very annoyed because they've just suddenly realised it's not orange juice. They thought it was orange juice because it was next to the orange juice. But actually, I don't think it needs to be in the chiller cabinet at all because I don't think it can ever go off, because of what's on it. Anyway, I thought there must be something else I can eat that isn't soybeans that will stop me going balmy with my menopause. And I didn't want to take HRT. Not that I know anything about it, but the only people I'd seen sort of banging on about it on the television were people like Teresa Gorman and Edwina Curry. And I thought, well, if I start taking it, I might start wearing these pink suits with the big gilt buttons, So I thought, I'll go to a health food shop and I'll ask them what I can take. I want to know why the people who work in health food shops have always got styes and impetigo and psoriasis and scurvy and rickets. They're always the most droopy-looking little people, aren't they? The men always look like they're saving up for a sex change and they've only got 22 quid. And the girls have got really teeny-weeny little wrists. If they've got to ring up a big price, they have to call somebody in from the back. It was 1999. I've done the 19. I really can't do that. So I went into one and I said to this girl, hello, have you got anything about the menopause? And she's just looking at me. I can see she's puzzling over the first part of the sentence, the hello part. Anyway, I found this book, Natural Alternatives to HRT, and I bought everything it said you should take. And the next morning, I'm sitting there, I've got this really sad breakfast. I've got this big bowl of sunflower seeds, linseeds, and millet. I'm thinking, this is a bit sad. I've turned into a 5'5" budgie all of a sudden. All I need is the ladder and the flipping bell, so I'm chomping away. And my husband says, what are you eating? I said, I'm eating linseeds. I said, you can't eat linseeds. I said, you can. Linseed oil is very good for you. He said, well, that's what you put on cricket bats, isn't it? I said, oh, well, at least you won't crack in the cold weather. The trouble with linseeds is they're teeny, teeny little seeds and they get stuck in the cracks between your teeth. So you spend all day trying to get them out. I think, oh, what's better, really, HRT or linseeds? I don't know. Who do you want to look like? Edwina Curry or Albert Steptoe? Well, I was religiously chomping away. I took this stuff every day for days and days and days, and I didn't feel any better. And I didn't think I looked any better, but I couldn't really tell, because I can't really tell what I look like, because I have a very strange idea of my own body image, because I used to suffer from an eating disorder. And if you've ever had an eating disorder, it just gives you a really, distorted view of what you look like. Like if somebody's a compulsive overeater and they're very big, they can look in the mirror and they see quite a normal person, and an anorexic looks in the mirror and they can see quite a fat person. Michael Portillo looks in the mirror, sees quite a fat person. Ooh, it's Anne Widdecombe, ha-ha, got rid of you. So I just struggle with this body image thing because of having suffered from this addiction. But it's not a bad addiction to have. If anybody's thinking of taking up an addiction, compulsive overeating is not a bad one because it's quite cheap. If you compare the prices of a gram of Coke and a bottle of vodka and a white sliced loaf and a pot of Hartley's strawberry jam, it comes out quite well. But I just have this strange relationship with food, partly because of the way I was brought up. Because my mother, like a lot of mothers in the 1950s, she used sweets as a reward. You know, if you were good, you got your sweets. If you did your jobs, you got your sweets. If you did your dry stone walling, you got your Maltesers. Because I was brought up in a rather strange house on the top of the moors, in Marsmanua, just outside Rochdale in Lancashire. And it was 2 miles from the nearest bus stop. There was just a really rough cart track to get to our house, which meant when I was older, I could only really have a boyfriend if he had his own transport and he wasn't too bothered about his suspension. Which meant I ended up going out with a load of old bin men, usually. But I did have this strange relationship with my mother because the night I was born in a little nursing home, and it's when they used to take the babies away as soon as they were born, and there was a mix-up, and I was given to the woman in the next door room, and my mother was given this woman's appendix in a jar. Which she was, you know, fine about. And she was just a bit distant. And you know when you're little and your mum takes you to the shop and you're like that, takes you to the shop, and she always stops for a very long conversation with someone, doesn't she? And you're just like stood there. I know you can hear the distant voices sort of booming somewhere above your head. Well, I realised years later that in my case that was a false arm. And she'd tuned a radio to the Archers. She'd gone. She was in a cafe half a mile away. But it was a funny place to be brought up because there was nothing to do. Our main social life when we were teenagers, there was a church nearby, and I used to go bell ringing once a week to meet boys. But it's not a great preparation for a mutually fulfilling sex life, bell ringing. All that tugging, it's not good. No, the first proper boyfriend I had, I nearly killed him. Oh, for God's sake. No, he didn't mind that so much as being expected to do it in a circle with 7 other people. Just got to do this in case it's worrying anybody. It's all right. But the trouble with my mother was that she never would encourage us to go to the doctor. If we were ill, she said you should never go to the doctor unless you got something interesting. So we were always going around kissing parrots trying to get siticosis. Because she said, you know, that you should put up with everything, which is a very northern thing. It's a very Lancashire thing. You put up with everything. You don't show your emotions. You don't show that you mind about anything. If you look at the history of the Northwest, you know, they closed the mines and they just went, oh, well, there you go. And they closed the shipyards. Oh, fair enough. They closed the cotton mills. That's that then. I mean, when they marched in the 1930s, they marched from Jarrow in the northeast. I mean, the people from the northwest like joined on at the end because like nothing else to do. And when they got to 10 Downing Street, they said, look, we're not that bothered about the unemployment, but could you please not send us any more Gracie Fields films? Thanks very much. And that's how she was brought up, you see, to put up with everything, because she was brought up in the 1920s, very poor, little tiny house in Moss Side. She said to me one year they were so poor she didn't have a coat, none of them had coats. She didn't have shoes, none of them had shoes. She didn't have a sense of humour, that was just her. So, you know, when I started to feel ill, I really started to try and struggle on, but I was losing all my bounds, you know, because normally I get out of bed, I have a shower, I shampoo my hair twice, I put mousse and conditioner and blow dry it. I'd gone from that to like slapping on a bit of wash and go and hoping it rained. And I was losing all my interest in everything, you know, because we have a bird table outside our kitchen window. And normally I'm like, first see what's on the bird table. And I just couldn't be bothered looking at my children and going, look, there's a robin. I'm going, oh, I'll look later. One night we had a fox in the garden and my children going, look, there's a fox in the garden. I'm going, oh, yeah, I'll look later. One night we had a unicorn and 2 pixies. And my husband said, he said, I know you don't feel good. He said, but look, it's nearly half term. He said, we'll have a special treat. He said, why don't we go to Florida and have a week at Disney World? I said, I don't think I can go. I said, I think something's wrong with me. I think my compulsive overeating has come back. He said, honestly, we'll have a fantastic week at Disney World. I said, I don't think I can go. I said, I think I need to be with other compulsive overeaters. He said, if you go to Disney World, you will be. Well, I've never seen so many huge arses in my whole life. I mean, I've never been there before. I don't know if everybody there has a big arse, or just everybody in Florida's got a big arse, everybody in Disney World's got a big arse. It was Big Arse Week and we got 4 cancellations. I don't know what it was. But they're all huge. And they're all very happily all walking around eating. And I'm thinking, well, I'm sorry. We don't do that in our country. If you're very, very big, you don't walk around as if you didn't mind. You certainly don't walk around eating. If you're big in this country, eating is a very shameful thing. You can't imagine this scenario in England. A big woman goes into a cake shop and she says, I would like a cake, please. It is for me, I'm going to eat it myself. It couldn't happen, could it? She would have to go in and say, can I have a cake, please? A woman's collapsed 2 streets away, and diabetic coma. On the other hand, it could be head injuries, in which case I'll eat it myself. In Disney World, they're walking around, they got food in this hand, they got food in that hand, they got a big wheelie bin full of popcorn. They got a sort of Bob Dylan harmonica style thing with a turkey leg strapped to it. And they're all wearing shorts. And I'm thinking, I'm sorry. We don't do that in our country. If you're very, very big, you're supposed to stay in. If you have to come out, it's beige with an elasticated waist. There's not shorts. Shorts, really, in our country, are reserved for little thin, weeny little people. Little weeny little shorts with little weeny logos on the back. Levi, M&S, C&A. Disney World, they can write what they like on the back of their shorts. Procrastination is the thief of time. Anyway, I came back from my holiday and I didn't feel any better, and I thought, I'm so fed up with this now. I'm going to go to the doctor, so I'm going to phone up the doctor. And I don't think I've ever phoned the doctor for myself before, so I phoned her and I said, I'd like to make an appointment. She said, that's fine. She said, the first available appointment will be November the 5th, 2002. She said, or if you can turn up in 5 minutes, we're having a free-for-all. So I turned up, and there's a whole bunch of people waiting. It's like first come, first served. And there's 5 doors, there's 5 doctor surgeries. And there's a doctor behind one door, but you don't know which one. So we're all there on the blocks like this. And I'm sizing up the opposition. I've got a bronchitis, a varicose veins, a woman in a wheelchair, not too worried about her. A manic depressive. I think, well, he could go either way, you know? He could be like sat slumped, or he could put on a burst of adrenaline and get to the door first. I think, well, I'll kick him out of the way, elbow the varicose veins, disable the bronchitis with a quick burst of Estee Lauder Youth Dew. So I reckon it's down to me and the woman in the wheelchair. Well, she looks quite fit, actually. She's got a little sweatband on. And she's got this little leather glove, she's like this. Big winner's medal from the London Marathon. So I'm going home and I'm in a big huff, and I go past this big billboard outside the doctor's, and it's got this picture of a very smiley woman with a telephone headset, and it says, Medical Advice Helpline, let us do the worrying. I think, well, I'll phone them. I'll phone them and tell them my symptoms, and they can tell me what to do. So I get out my new, very flash, little black, flippy mobile phone. Flip. Oh, it's stuck to my face. Why is it stuck to my face? Because it's not a mobile phone, it's a black panty liner with wings. Wrong pocket, start again. Flippy. Hello, you are through to the Medical Advice Helpline. Let us do the worrying. You have accessed a storehouse and a treasure trove of trained medical experts, each one expertly trained medically. With a medical training that has made them expert in a trained way. We have over 5,000 top consultants all busting a gut, so to speak, to help you with any symptoms that may be worrying you. I'm afraid that at the moment there is no one available to take your call. You can either hang up, hang on, or if symptoms worsen, dial 333 for our complete post-mortem and funeral package. I think, well, I'll hang on. You are now being held in a queue. If you have a tone phone, please press for your choice of relaxing listening. Press 1 for the Blue Danube, 2 for the Cuckoo Waltz, 3 for Tommy Steele having a crack at Phantom of the Opera. You have now reached the head of the queue, and a trained consultant will be with you in... How long, Sheena? As soon as she's finished her pasty. Meanwhile, please press 1 for huge worrying lumps, 2 for inexplicable flatulence, 3 for grumbling groins, back passage bother, and all enquiries for Washing Machine World. Please note that we are no longer dealing with diarrhea or gonorrhea, as these are causing repetitive strain injury in the girls typing the invoices. You are now through to huge worrying lumps. Please state your symptoms in no more than 3 short words. Please speak slowly and clearly, and if it's something embarrassing, then speak up because there'll be lots of us listening. Please state your symptoms in no more than 3 short words after the beep. Beep. Pain, lump, tired. Please repeat. Pain, lump, tired. Thank you. So sorry to hear you are suffering from pain, lump, tired. Please hold the line. You're connecting you to an expert who is specially trained to deal with pain, lump, tired. And then a real person comes on the line. Hello? Oh, yes, hello. I'm looking at your problem now. I've got my computer up and running. Now, just a few questions. Tell me, how long have you had it? About a year. About a year. And do you wear an underwired bra? Yes. And have you noticed a wire gone missing? No. And since you've had the problem, have you tried jamming your hand in and seeing if anything moves round? No. Because often what happens, you see, is a wire comes loose from your bra, gets stuck in the drum, and then it can't spin. I thought, right, I've had enough of this now. I feel so bad. I'm going to take myself down the hill. I'm going to go to hospital. I'm going to go to casualty. Now, I've never been to casualty before, but I think, well, it's all right. You know, I've seen ER on the television. I think as soon as I get there, I'll be on a stretcher. They'll run at me. They'll be cutting up the sides of my trousers. No, because they do that in ER all the time. Even if somebody's only looking for the antenatal clinic, oh, they're on there. I know, I got in there and it wasn't quite like ER. It was like these 2 grumpy women at the table. And they went, yes. I said, oh, I've got this really bad pain. Where? I said, well, sort of here. She said, oh, abdominal. I said, I'll put leg. I can't spell abdominal. So she really have to wait. So I'm sitting in casualty and I'm next to this really, really mad, rough-looking woman with no teeth who's out of her head on something. And she keeps looking at me going, hey, Pames, hey. And she's knocking something back out of a bottle, something purple. I think probably meths, I'm guessing not Ribena tooth kind. And then on my other side, I've got this poor man who's got a dustbuster jammed up his bottom. He says he was hoovering the back of his boxer shorts and he fell over. I don't know. Anyway, every time he gets up and we have to move to another chair, it sets it off. So we're sat there for hours and hours. There's nothing to do. There's nothing to read. All we've got like a big television bolted to the wall and it's showing this hospital information film over and over again. Taking care of hospital crutches. So I'm just sitting there, hey, Pames. I'm thinking, who's that voiceover? Sounds like Susan Hampshire. Taking care of hospital crutches. Hospital crutches are not a toy. Hey, Pames. I'm thinking, is it Susan Hampshire? Is it Hannah Gordon? Taking care of hospital crutches. Hospital crutches are not a dustbuster. They must not be jammed up your bottom. Yeah, I told you that. Anyway, I get called through, and I'm going through to see the nurse. I have to go past reception, and I look round the corner, and there she is, Hannah Gordon, with the microphone. Taking care of hospital crutches. And I go through and I see this nurse, and by the time I get to see the nurse, I've got a really, really bad pain and my hands are gone into spasm like this and I can't move anything. And this nurse says, right, you need a painkiller. She said, can you take paracetamol? I said, only crushed up in jam, sorry. And she said, well, the quickest thing I can give you, I can give you a painkiller in a suppository. Do you know what one is? And I just went, I didn't know what one was. A suppository. I mean, I was guessing it wasn't somewhere where you stored furniture, but I didn't know what it was. Anyway, so she gives me this thing that's like the last sweet in the bag of licorice all sorts. And she says, you know, you can put it where you like within reason. I thought, well, I'll pop it behind my ear, that's all right. And so she tells me what to do with it. She says, right, you can go in there in that disabled toilet and put it in there. I said, what disabled toilet? She said, that toilet over there. I said, oh, is that disabled? She said, well, it wasn't, but somebody smashed it with a sledgehammer last night. So I go in and I can't move my hands. And I think, I can't even get my trousers undone. I've got these button-fly Levi's and they're really tight because I've got this huge lump here. I think maybe I'll go whack. They might go ping, 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 ping. And I could go shimmy, shimmy, shimmy. And I could like throw it up and... No, I can't do that. I think if only I was one of those girls from the sex shows in Bangkok. You know those girls that can take off the top of a bottle? You know the one? Oh. He's laughing, she's not. Okay. I thought you were in Western Supermare. How dare you? know, because I thought that they would find it really easy, wouldn't it? Those girls would just go whack, ping, 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 shimmy, shimmy, hop, hop, hop. But you know, I'm not from Bangkok, the sex capital of the world. I'm from Greater Manchester, the chip capital of the world, which is why all the sex shows are in Bangkok and all the chip shops are in Greater Manchester. Because if all the sex shows were in Greater Manchester, there would just be girls with their coats on with a chip pan going, because I'm not in the mood now, leave it. Anyway, I can't do it, so I think I'm going to have to ask a nurse. So I'm poking my head through the door, hoping that a nurse will be going past. And I can't see anybody. I can just see a male nurse down the end of the corridor. I think, well, that's all right. You know, a male nurse is a nurse. They're all trained the same way. It doesn't make any difference. I think, is it a nurse? I'm not sure what they wear. Anyway, it's got like a pale blue shirt on and epaulets and an ID thing. Anyway, it comes to do it for me. I see him a week later driving a bus, but anyway. Anyway, so I get my painkiller in, and then I feel marvellous, and I'm all for going home. And they said, no, you don't go home now. We have to find out what it was. They said, we'll have to do an internal examination. Do you mind if we bring in 16 students? I said, well, it depends what the students are. If it's mechanical engineering, yes, I do mind. And he said, well, what we can do, he said, if you don't want a whole load of people coming in your room, he said, we've got the new technology, you know, we've got this tiny, tiny, tiny little miniaturised camera on the end of this flexible cable, and all we have to do is that we put that up inside, and that takes pictures, that goes through to a video monitor in another room, nobody needs to come in. I said, all right, do that. He said, the only person that's got to come in is the man that's got to put the camera in. So in comes this poor man who's got to do it, and he's so embarrassed when he sees me, he can't look me in the face, which doesn't matter, because it's not my face, he has to look me in, but he's trying to put it in without looking, so he's like this. So he's looking one way, I'm looking that way. I'm not looking at him, I'm looking like I've got nothing below the waist at all, like this. No. And he feels obliged to have a conversation with me. You know, it's a bit like the dentist. Whenever the dentist puts that sucky tube in your mouth, they always say, where are you going for your holidays? And you go, Ibiza. So he's looking like that, chatting away. So I see there was another accident in the high street the other day. Oh, was there? You know, that rather dangerous corner where the buses pull out near the pub? Oh, yes, I know what you mean. What we really need is a big sign, danger concealed entrance. Oh, where would you put it? Oh, I see what you mean on there. Anyway, puts the camera in, takes the pictures, back I go to Casualty. I'm sitting with my friends, and I said to them, what are we watching on the television now? This isn't taking care of hospital crutches. What is this on the television now? Well, they get the results from that and they send me down to the women's clinic. So I'm sitting in the women's clinic, I'm thinking, well, I never knew there were so many ways for women to fall to pieces. They're all sitting there, they've got their bosoms hanging out, pelvic floors dangling. There's a woman with a cervix in a margarine tub like this. And she's going, I took it out to wash it, I couldn't get it back in. And there's a very select group of women, all with fibroids, all vying with each other to see who's got the biggest one. Oh, how big was yours? Did the doctor say? Yes, as big as a satsuma. Oh, mine was as big as a grapefruit. Oh, Spanish or Californian. Anyway, so they do another scan and they get the results from that and they say, I can't go home, I have to go up to the ward for the night. So I'm up to the ward, I'm terrible pain, hands like this. And they say, we're really sorry, we can't give you a sleeping pill, it's too late. But luckily, the two women in the two next beds to me are having a very long conversation about how they went to see Elaine Page at the London Palladium, in The King and I, and all those lovely little Siamese children. Anyway, so I was asleep quite. I've been asleep for about 7 minutes, in comes the consultant, on goes the light, Dickie Bow, 16 students behind him, wash his hands, rubber glove, hand in. He said, now what we'll do? I said, excuse me? I said, I don't expect you to take me out to dinner before you do that, but, you know, hello would be nice. Whoosh! No, he said, now what we'll do, we'll take away the uterus, take away the ovaries, take away the cervix, ribs, might as well take them while we're there, spleen, never knew what that was for, ginger highlights, 3 in the morning. I thought, no, I can't stay here. I was a bit worried anyway, I was a bit worried about sleeping in the ward overnight, because I talk in my sleep, and I didn't want to end up as end of part 1 on You've Been Framed. So I thought, well, I'll check myself out, because I'm sure I've got private health insurance I took out years and years ago, and I've never had to use it. And I'm not sure who it's with, because I know every insurance company I've ever been with has been bought up by a bigger company. So I go home and I'm sorting through all my bills, because it's getting very confusing now, because I get my water from the electricity board now. I think that's dangerous, though, don't you? And, anyway, so I make a few phone calls, and it turns out, once I've been rerouted via a few gay chat rooms, that, my health insurance is now with Kentucky Fried Chicken. that's all right. They say they'll cover all my costs and throw in a bucket and dips, so I'm quite happy. So I'm lying there the next week waiting for my operation, this little tiny private room, and I'm just lying there. I've got about half an hour to go before they come to take me away. And I've got a television up on the wall, and I'm watching a Channel 5 documentary, When Operations Go Wrong. And it's all about, people who've gone in for a normal varicose vein operation and they've ended up having their bladder rerouted by some maniac that's come up from the boiler room and put a mask on. And the anaesthetist comes in to talk to me and he says, is there anything you're worried about? And I said, well, yeah. I said, I've just seen this thing. I said, I'm worried. I'm going to wake up in the middle of my operation, paralysed, in terrible pain, unable to speak or move, with all my bits in a bowl on the sideboard. And somebody going, read me them instructions again, Joanne, now. And he said, that can't happen now. He said, we've got a new drug, that can't happen. I said, what, I can't wake up? He said, no, you can wake up. I said, what, I won't be paralysed? He said, no, you will be. I said, what, I won't be in terrible pain? He said, no, you will be. I said, what does the new drug do? He said, well, it's an amnesiac drug. It just means if something goes wrong, you won't remember it. You won't know anything about it. I said, well, if I start weeing out of my left armpit, I might notice something's gone wrong. Anyway, so he goes, and then in comes the man that's going to do the operation. He says to me, where would you like me to put your scar? I said, look, I don't know, where do you usually put it? And he said, well, we do what we call a bikini line incision. He said, do you wear a bikini? I said, oh, come on. I said, I didn't take my coat up on a beach till I was 37. He said, well, we try and make sure, it sort of ends up being covered by your underwear. Where do your pants come to? I said, it depends, It depends where I am in my menstrual cycle, where I am in my laundry cycle, Different pants for different moods with me. M&S, BHS, CNA, PMT, that's all right. And he said, well, we try and make sure it ends up being covered by your pubic hair. I said, we can do it there, but I'll bleed to death. Anyway, so he goes away and I've got about half an hour to go before they come to take me away. So I'm like trying to think it through. I'm thinking, okay, so they take away your uterus away. So that means you can't have any more children. I'm thinking, well, that's all right, I was 48, I wasn't expecting to have any more. But if somebody tells me I can't do something, I have to find a way to do it then. And I was thinking, if I wanted to have a baby, how could I have a baby? I think, well, I've still got my ovaries, so I've still got my eggs. All I need to do is to get my eggs and get them implanted into the womb of another woman. Well, I'm watching Friends at the time. I'm thinking, no, wouldn't get them implanted into the womb of any of those girls or Friends, because they're too thin and neurotic looking, aren't they? Imagine a poor old fetus going, for God's sake, breathe out. So I changed channel to Oprah Winfrey. I think, yes, I could get my eggs implanted into the womb of Oprah Winfrey. She's a nice, big, sturdy, sensible-looking woman. I think all I've got to do now is get some sperm from somewhere, which could be a bit awkward because my husband's had a vasectomy. Didn't tell me the bloody lie. I said he was going to the garden centre. Thank you. I think, well, I could have a bit of a fling with the man in the corner shop, because he's very attractive. We could have like a big smooch, and at the last minute I could whip out a yoghurt pot. It could be awkward, though, couldn't it, the next morning when I'm popping in for my bran flakes? Morning. I think what I need to do, really, what would be better, I should do what a lot of people do. I could get some sperm off a gay man. You see, that would be better because they wouldn't expect any emotional commitment, and they might pop in a Dusty Springfield impression, might make the bed afterwards. Anyway, I've got about 10 minutes to go before they come to take me away, and I'm just thinking, all right, so they take away your uterus, so what's left? This is like a big hole. I mean, am I supposed to put something in there, like an ornament or something like that? Potpourri? What? Nobody said. And does it affect your sex life? What happens afterwards? Does your husband's penis panic and say, go back, it's too big, it's too big, it's too big? I've got so much to worry about. I've got to fill up a big hole. I've still got to give pleasure to my husband. How can I do both? I think I could pop in a sausage sandwich and a picture of Charlie Dimmock. That would probably do it. Well, they come to take me away for the operation. And what I didn't realise, because I've never had an operation, is they don't take you straight into the operating theatre because they don't want you to see them clearing up from the operation before. Going, oh, no wonder he never responded to oxygen, never turned on. Oh. Anyway, I come round after the operation and this nurse says to me, like, you don't have to get up, you don't have to do anything, you've got a catheter in, it's all draining away to something under the bed, don't worry about it. And I said, no, I'd rather get up. She said, no, there's a catheter in, all draining away to something under the bed. I'm thinking, to what under the bed? What is it? And I can hear this woman going, Leanne, have you seen my mop bucket? And, and I said to her, honestly, I do drink a lot of water. And she said, no, it's all right, as soon as it's full, you know, I'll come and empty it. Well, I drink 2 litres of water every day. And I thought, well, I've had an operation, I should drink more than that. So I was drinking and drinking. And she came to empty it, she's like this. You know. And I'm drinking even more. And she comes again, all the veins are standing out in her arms like this. In the end, they have to have a sort of chain gang of nurses. They have to stop in the end because the Chinese nurses can't manage the words to the sea shanties. So they say, all right, they take the catheter out and say, all right, you can get up and go to the bathroom now. So I get up, first time in 2 days, and I'm stood there looking at myself in the mirror. I think, for God's sake, what do you look like? I've got no bra on, J-cloth knickers. I've got this terrible hospital gown, all flowery, like a 1960s housecoat. I've not washed my hair for 2 days, it's gone all flat and all the brown bits are showing through. And I've not got my contact lenses in, I've got my glasses on, which are years old. I've just stood there thinking, for God's sake, you didn't look so bad when you came in, you've turned into Olive from On the Buses. I'm thinking, I must get my own pyjamas on and then I'll feel a bit more like myself. I don't quite see how to get my gown off. Because on this one I've got a needle in the back of my hand with a drip going up to this big drip stand on wheels with a big bag of morphine on it. Because when I came round from the operation, they said to me, if you need any pain relief, you press this little button and you'll get a measured dose of morphine every 6 minutes. Well, I thought she meant you had to have it every 6 minutes. That was a long night. Anyway, so I get my gown off this arm and I get it down the front and then I get it down this arm, over the needle, up the cable, onto the top of the drip stand, and then I'm stark naked and it's dressed up as me then. So I get my pyjamas on and the nurses come in and they're so nice and they say, oh, you're doing so well, you're dressed, you're up, you're doing better than anybody else on this whole floor. Because everybody else on my floor has had the same operation on the same day. They said, honestly, you're doing really well. They said, why don't you take a walk up and down the corridor, go on. So I'm walking up and down the corridor like this. And I can see into all the other rooms where the other women have had the same operation, all the doors are open. And all these other women are hoovering and painting the ceiling. I'm so cross. Anyway, so I get home. And I think, when I get home, I think I've really got to have a look at my scar because I've especially avoided looking at it all the time I've been in hospital because I was a bit too scared to look at it. And I think, well, what I'll do, I'll unpack my bag from the hospital, I'll put on my pyjamas, and then I'll have a look at it. So I unpack my bag, and I've got my pyjama trousers, but I haven't got my pyjama jacket. I've left it behind, and I really like it. So I phoned at the hospital and said, I'm really sorry. I've just checked myself out, and I think I've left my pyjamas behind. And she said, oh, well, just tell me what operation it was. I'll call you back. So I tell her. And she calls me back and says, I just need to check, what floor was it, what ward was it, what operation was it, what are you missing? I said, well, it's floor 10, ward 3, hysterectomy and pyjama jacket. She said, all right, I'll call you back. A bit later, the laundry phones and said, now we think we've got what you want. It was ward 3, floor 10, hysterectomy, missing item, sending it up now. Up comes this taxi, refrigerated box, not my pyjamas, my uterus. No. Yes, I know we have to stop. I know we have to have an interval like this. No, yes, I know. So I'm getting like Ken Dodd, I can't come off. Anyway, so I get changed, I think, well, I'll have a look at it, and it's not as bad as I thought, actually, because I thought they shaved the whole thing, but they didn't, they just shaved like a little strip across here. It's like they've shaved a bit and then gone, oh, come on, Maureen, 6:30, karaoke, come on. So there's like a really bald bit across here, and the rest is just sort of like hanging down, you know. No, because I've more or less let it go, you know, over the previous few weeks. No, because normally I try and keep up with it a bit, you know. I'll chop the odd chunk off now and again. You know, with the nail scissors. Oh, not just me then. No, I do. I chop bits off and then I don't know what to do with them, so I put them out the window. Because when I was little, we used to clean our hairbrushes. Mum and me used to say, put the hair out the window, because then the birds can make their nest. Some very annoyed birds where I live. Tapping on the window going, do you mind? Can we stick to twigs? People are talking. Yes, I'm just coming. Anyway, so I have a look at it, and what it is like a really bald bit, and then the scar actually is not that bad. It's like a little thin mouth, like this. twitch my stomach muscles at the side, I can make it go up. I think, who does it look like? There's like a little mouth, a little stubbly chin, and like sides coming down here. Who does it remind me of? I think, oh, if I had tweed knickers on, it would look like John McCririck from Channel 4 Racing. I'm just coming. Anyway, no, I've just got to tell you this, that I'm so annoyed actually because it's all grown back now. And the way it's come out is my scar is just above where my pubic hair comes to. I'm having to do so much back combing of a morning. Luckily, Nicky Clark does a lovely pubic mousse, but... Look, do you want to have a look?
Please welcome, on stage, the one we've all been waiting for, the star of the hit Channel 5 docusoap, achieving top Channel 5 ratings of over 582,000 people. Here she is, from Luxury Liner. She's glam, she's glitzy, and unlike certain things you might have read in this week's Daily Mirror, she's not gay, she is Stacey Leanne Page!
Oh, thank you, what a welcome. There must be northern people in this audience tonight. The atmosphere is so warm. I'm just getting these warm wafts coming up. Talk about on the wings of love. I am floating 2 feet in the air. I really am. It's unbelievable. Oh, I'm filling up now. What am I like? Oh, so many people. Hi, Marion. God. Not seen you for about 15 years. How are you? You look gorgeous. Are you still a prostitute? A what? A cashier? Oh, lovely. Which bank? Barclays. Oh. That's a short skirt. Are you moonlighting? Because I just don't think Nick's had sex for a few nights. She could give him a discount. I can't believe I'm in this hall with all you lovely people. Oh, there's my mum. Love you, mum. Put your knees together. No, but what a year I have had. I mean, a year ago, I was nobody. Yes, I was gifted. Yes, I was gorgeous. But basically, nobody knew who the Kentucky Fried Frickin' Chicken I was. Oh, text message. Anyway. Now I'm going to plunge into a little Lancashire idiom now, so bear with me, anybody who's south of the Watford Gap, which you only mentioned because we came through Watford Gap service station last night. Boy, have they got sophisticated. They're mozzarella and tree-ripened tomato pork scratchings. Woo. They're out of this world. They're bliss in a bucket. Oh, hang on. So I've got to take this. It's my Auntie Joan. Hi, Joan. Mum, it's Joan. She's in Marx's now, looking at them. She says, do you want midi, high leg, or full brief? What do you want? Full brief, yeah. Plain or floury? Floury. And do you want to pack it to 3 or 1 and just keep rinsing them through? What do you want to do? Yeah, get 3. All right then, Joan, I've got to go. My Auntie Joan, she's a marvellous woman. She was the first woman in Chorlton to go on the pill. She had to come off it, though. It didn't suit her. She grew a 3rd breast. Oh. Never go shopping with her. It's a nightmare. Now, where was I? As Monica said to Bill, I'd forget my head if it wasn't screwed on. No. Sherry Blair told me that one. No, I'm outrageous, Nick. Get used to me. Anyway, to plunge into a little Lancashire idiom. Last year, I was nobody, I had nothing, and as we say, I didn't have a pot to piss in. No, I'm not trying to be offensive when I say that with speakers we find in Radcliffe. I did not have A pot to piss in. Did I, Mum? A pot to piss in, I did not have. Somebody had come to me for a pot, wanting a piss, I couldn't have. Pot-wise, piss-wise, I was nowhere. No piss, no pot, that was me. Big time. Anyway, it's a nice little expression, isn't it? We've got loads of sayings like that, haven't we, Mum? What did we used to say to me Dad? Don't leave your teeth in the bed, me bum's bad enough as it is. And my own particular favourite, if you think you'll have a shag, pop a Johnny in your bag. No, but last year, if you had gone up to somebody in the street with a photograph of me, they would have said, wow, she's glamorous in a non-intimidating way. Who the heck is she? Oh, sorry, I've got to take this. It's Jerry Halliwell. Hi, darling. Oh, has he not turned up? Mum, it's Robbie Williams. He's not turned up. Well, give him another 5 minutes. Yeah, hang on for him. Yeah, no, because it might be the buses. Yeah. No. Yeah, well, let me know what gives. Call me back. All right then, Dan. Love you. Bye. And that was like a really strange position to be in. Do you know what I mean? To be so unbelievably talented and nobody knew who the Dunkin' Donuts I was. And I'm not being arrogant when I say I was unbelievably talented, because that is nothing to do with me. Do you know what I mean? That is a gift from above. I mean, that could have landed on anybody. I mean, it didn't. It landed on me, kaplunk. I love that word, don't you? Me. But what a fantastic chance for me. There I am singing on our luxury line of the Watery Queen. On comes this docu-soap crew. And I didn't realise what a chance it was, you know. I was quite ambivalentious about them. I said to them, you can film me if you like. I said, I've got nothing to hide. I said to them, I am what I am. And what I am needs no excuses. You know, that is a line from a song from my favourite fabulous all-time show, Cage aux Folles. It's a gorgeous show. It's French. It's about these two gay frogs. Oh no, sorry, we're not allowed to say that. It's about these two French puffs. And no, I love gay people. I couldn't be a gay man though, could you? I couldn't face all that ironing. Oh, darn. Got to take this. Is Jerry again. Hi, darling. Has he still not turned up? Well, order your dinner then. Don't wait for him. Order your dinner. Well, hang on, I'll have to ask my mum. Mum, what's good, a little chef? No? Yeah, the giant Yorkshire, she says. Yeah, with the sweet and sour. And the mini donuts. Yeah. But they're on the children's menu. You'll have to bob down. Yeah. Yeah, bob down, you get a toy. All right then, darling, got to go. And I said to them, you don't need to film me. I said, there's hundreds of people like me on board this ship, witty, vibrant, fantastic vocalists, but somehow, week after week, it was all about me. I said to the cameraman, Brian, I said, this is getting embarrassing. I said, this is turning into my show. What were we doing when I said that? Foreplay. That's right. But what a fantastic chance for me, and I am truly grateful, because that's one of our mottos, isn't it, Mum? Longitude or latitude, my attitude is gratitude. And that has got us through some very sticky situations, hasn't it, Mum? Like last year when my dad was arrested, charged with insulting behaviour liable to cause a breach of the peace, i.e. running into Sainsbury's stark bollock naked shouting your Jaffa cakes are crap. And he had to be led into court with a blanket over his head. I said to my mum, no, come on, be fair. I said, attitude is gratitude, let's be grateful. We've got a bloody blanket. Anyway, I'm going to finish this part of the show now with a little song. I think you can all guess what type of song it's going to be. I am becoming known for my big ballads. Now, the song I'm about to sing, the music was written especially for me by my very dear friend and musical director, Mr. Raymond Brewer, of the Raymond Brewer Mélange. I'm afraid he can't be with us this evening. I don't think he'd mind me telling you this. He is impotent. And an alcoholic. His wife's just left him for another woman. He's just found out that his little kiddies, the twins, are not his, they're the drummers. So he's not in too good a state at the moment. That's not why he's not here, he's stuck on the M25, but I just thought I would tell you. So tonight I'm working for the first time. You may recognise the keyboard player from our luxury liner, the Watery Queen, Mr. Nick, and so we don't usually work together like this. In fact, this will be the first time we've done this particular song, so bear with us. I'm a bit nervous about it, because it's different with Raymond. You know, I'm very used to working with him. With Raymond, I can go into any key I like, and eventually, you know, he will track it down. So So this song has music by Mr. Raymond Brewer, lyrics by my good self, she added proudly. Not really, she lied, truthfully. No, I did write the lyrics. I'm trying to emulate my very, very great hero, Sir Paul McCartney, who's written so many, many fabulous lyrics. I think my favourite lines of his have got to be, all the lonely people, where do they all come from? I think a lot of them come from Bromley, but... This song is written for and is dedicated to my fiancé, Sven. Lars, God. What am I like? Getting my engagements mixed up now. Sven was another cruise altogether. Lars, who I met recently in a chip shop in Brindisi, and we were being filmed at the time, and he hutched up against me in the queue. So I think the whole world knows my first words to him were, would you mind not shoving my arse? We're all waiting on battered Savaloys. Since which time, of course, we've had a whirlwind romance, we've become engaged, we're buying a big house together just outside Huddersfield with a granny annex for my mother and a secure unit for my father. And, you know, we've only known each other 10 days, but as I said to him, I said, this was meant to be, this was written in the stars, this was our destination. Because before I met him, I was quite soft on the outside, but quite hard and cold on the inside. A bit like an Arctic roll. And so I would like to dedicate this song to my fiancé. I will get his bloody name right, Lars, with thanks for all his care and his love and his dedication. Plus, I must say, he is absolutely top-notch in the underpants department. And this song is called Filling My World. Are you from Barclays as well? Because that is what he has done for me. Filling my world. I was lost, I was cold, all my life was a mockery. Had no future, no past, and no colour but grey. Stood alone like a gnome, not at home in a rockery. When you came, sent that same grey away. I was sad, I was dead, I was Emily Bronte. I was looking for love in the mist on the moor. But my heart held a shot of dead hard diamante. Till your knob did the job on my door. Is on fire night and day. Oh, what can I say? Since you gave my ass that shove. Get it next time. There's blue in the sky above, filling my world with love. I had nothing, had no one to even get pissed with. Live my life like a fool on a hill or a clown. Out of places and Robinson in Aberystwyth. When you came, my defenses were down. Oh, I like that. Life was dull, life was cheap, like the programs on Carlton. Always hoping for something exciting to start. But my love had grown bold, and so like Bobby Charlton, I combed it across the top of my heart. But you lighted my dark, you ignited a spark deep inside. Requited in love in a heart that was unoccupied. I had nowhere to hide, just with a single kiss. Thank you, you plunged into my abyss, filling my world with bliss. Worship nothing and no one, had no god or totem.
There was literally no one for whom I could care. Then last Feb on the web I caught sight of your scrotum. Once I looked, I was hooked then and there. But you liked my lungs and you had my bumps like a dream. You whitened the pumps of my life like Meltonian cream. Till I could scream, you're king in a world of kongs. Big pants in a world of thongs. Filling my world, let's go for a key change. Go up, filling my world with you. Your eyes are the size of the fries at the Hollywood Bowl. It's not a surprise that you managed to fill up the hole that's deep in my soul when faced with a clitoris. You don't go, oh Christ, what's this? Filling my world, let's go for another one, go up a bit. Filling my world with you, it's too high. You conquer my mountains, you fill up my fountains with coins. Times without counting, I'm lost in the lust of your loins. A groin amongst groins. The minute we kissed, I knew. Right there in that chip shop queue, I'd be filling my world, big finish. Filling my world, big long note, with you.
God! Give us a drink. No, just the vodka. Don't bother with the Orangina. Oh, God. Couldn't remember his flipping name on the keyboard. What's his name? Put my microphone back on. Oh, is it on? Ladies and gentlemen, will you please join me in thanking my musical director and keyboard player for this evening only, Mr. Nicholas Gilbert. You know, I've been thinking about giving it up, you know, being a stand-up comedian. I was thinking about stopping doing it. Oh, not tonight, so I'll wait till you've gone home, but... No, but I don't want to get, like, too middle-aged to do it, you know, because I've got really middle-aged lately. I can't read the paper. I'm doing this with the paper, you know. I can't really read it unless the woman in the house across the street holds it up at the bedroom window. Oh, and I can't read the A to Z. I can't read the small streets. If you don't live on a main road, I'm not coming to see you. And I can't thread a needle. One of my children changed schools a bit ago, and I had all these name tapes to sew on. And I've got the needle and I've got the thread. I'm like this. I said, right, you're not going to that school now. No, but you don't want to get too old and out of touch to do it, do you? I don't want to do all that sort of terrible boasting that people do when they get old. Like if you ever see Raquel Welch on a chat show, she always has to say, these are my own breasts, you know. I don't need coming on saying, still got my own hips. I mean, I used to do a thing in my show. I used to say I knew when I was getting older when I went past a rack of Dr. Scholl sandals and went, oh, they look comfy. Now I'm going past going, oh, too modern, too modern. But you can get out of touch and you don't even know that you are. Like a few weeks ago, on a few weeks off work, and I thought, I will go into the West End and I'll catch up, you know, with what's going on in the rest of show business. And I got the paper to see what was on, and there wasn't one thing in the whole of the West End that I wanted to go and see. And in fact, there was only one thing sold out that night, and that was that thing called the Vagina Monologues. I thought, well, I hate that word monologues, you know, I'm not going to see that. I thought, what's wrong with a nice wholesome show? Something like Puppetry of the Penis. That was a nice show. For those that didn't catch that, at the Whitehall Theatre, it was two men with their willies out, and they were like twisting them into the shapes of famous people. I didn't see it here, but I saw it in Australia. I was on Australia about 5 years ago, and I saw it there. I mean, I like Rolf Harris, but... You don't want to be looking at his knob all night, do you really? Can you see what it is yet? No, I don't really want to stop being a comedian. I do like being a comedian, and, you know, there's some lovely people who are comedians, but you have to say that comedians often, they do suffer from that dark side, you know, some melancholia, depression. Well, we seem to split into two groups, you know, lots of comedians suffer from depression, then there's a very jolly bunch of comedians who play golf. I'm in the depression side myself, but I think that's better than golf. I think, well, at least with depression you don't have to wear those terrible check trousers, you know. But I did feel this year that I suddenly got a lot more middle-aged, and the thing that made me think I was I was suddenly getting very different catalogues through the post. No, because I'm on some terrible list and I get hundreds of catalogues all the time. But then for nice things, you know, nice underwear, aerobic shoes, exercise equipment, beauty products. And then suddenly, I think this year, my date of birth must have got passed on to a whole load of other people, because I was suddenly getting catalogues for pleated skirts. And not only Tupperware, but easy to open Tupperware. And I didn't quite sort of realise what was going on at first, and I was flicking through thinking, where's that nice bra? Microwavable bloomers to keep your kidneys warm. And I'm throwing them in the recycling. Sad thing is, and then I'm fishing them out, going, actually, this is not a bad idea. Slipper-activated night lights, they go on, they go on. This looks good. Flatulence-powered CD player. Comes with a box set of Petula Clark. Downtown. And the sad thing is, I'm ordering things out of the catalogue. I'm going to my husband, hey, this looks good. Bladder alert. And he's going, what's that? It's for men. It senses when your bladder's about to be full. It reminds you to go. It rings a little bell attached to your braces. And he's going, I haven't got any braces. You have now. I've just sent off for some. And out of all the people here tonight, there must be somebody who's had the same catalogue as me. Somebody has ordered the wheelie bin cover. This is for people who obviously feel a bit uncomfortable about having a wheelie bin. And they don't want the neighbours coming to the front door and going, oh, I see you have a wheelie bin. So what you buy this cover and it fits over your whole wheelie bin. And the one I've seen is a very realistic pattern of beach leaves. So instead of the neighbours going, oh, I see you have a wheelie bin, they're going, oh, I see you have a 5-foot-high beach hedge on casters. But they do prey on your insecurities, catalogues. Because they set you worrying about things you never even thought about before. When I had a gardening catalogue last week, and I can't remember what the thing was for, but it said something like, hide that ugly drain pipe. And I'm thinking, what ugly drain pipe? Are my drain pipes ugly? I think, for God's sake, I spent 30 years worrying about me, now I've got to worry about my bloody drain pipes. But it was a strange year for worrying and everything, because I had an operation, my husband had an operation, and we were working all the time. We were apart loads this year, because he went away on tour, and then he went away to do this Channel 4 quiz that he does Countdown, and he goes up to do Countdown at Yorkshire Television in Leeds, and they do 10 countdown programmes in one day with the same audience. But at the end of each programme, they have to, like, swap cardigans and move about a bit. So when Jeff goes up, he has to take 10 jackets, so he wears a different jacket for each programme. And last time I went up, we took these 10 jackets up, and they're all in one suit cover, and they're all squashed together. And I'm thinking, oh God, they get awfully crumpled, you know, by the time he gets there. I'm thinking, no, it's all right, it'll be okay. There'll be somebody at Yorkshire Television who can steam them for him. I'm thinking Richard Whiteley, the presenter, you know, he must have somebody who helps him with his jackets. Then I'm thinking, actually, looking at his jackets, does he have a wardrobe assistant or does he have a deck chair attendant? Anyway, so he was away, and I went into this terrible depression. I thought, right, I'm having a midlife crisis. I thought, I'm going to get counselling. So I got this therapist out of the post office window. Well, she was doing no good in there. I said, come out. No, I got this little card out the post office window, and it said, therapist, midlife crisis dealt with, plants watered, pets fed. I thought, well, she'll do. And it's really good when you first have therapy or counselling, because, you know, however happily married you are, sometimes you just want to have a big whinge about your husband. You want to say, oh, he does this, he does that, and everything. And when you do it with your friends, they just get fed up with you, don't they? After about a minute and a half, they're going, oh, come on, you know, he's not that bad. He's clean, he's sober, he can get the lid off the Piccadilly. What are you worried about? But a therapist, you know, because you're paying her, she has to, like, egg you on. And also, what's good, if you get a lady therapist, she might have really terrible dangly earrings. And at the end of the first 50 minutes, you think, well, I'm still depressed, but at least I'm not wearing those bloody stupid earrings. Anyway, she said to me she didn't think we had terrible problems, but she said, you are apart a lot of the time at the moment. Have you never thought of working together? Well, it was just about that time that Richard and Judy said they were leaving this morning. So I thought, well, maybe we could do something like that, We could be the television presenters together. I thought, no, it would be hopeless. We're terrible together. We get really, really timid. I don't know what it is. We're hopeless on holiday. When you go on holiday to a new place and you go to a new hotel you've never been to before, and you go downstairs for breakfast and you don't know if you're allowed to sit down or the lady has to come and tell you where to sit or whether you can get your own orange juice or what can you do. And we're going like, well, you ask her. I'm not asking her. You ask her. I thought, well, it would be like that on the television, Be sat there with Madonna who's come to plug a new single. We're going, well, you ask her about it. I'm not asking her. You ask her about it. And also, I think if you're on television with your husband, I don't know whether it would be the same, whether you take the same amount of trouble. Like, if I go on television, say if I go on Parkinson or something, I make a bit of an effort. I have a wash and I pay attention to what he's saying. I mean, if it was your husband, you wouldn't bother, would you? I think when I'm like at home, I would even zip my trousers up half the time. Everything he said, I'd be going, what? And also, if we were having a row, I wouldn't stop having a row just because I was on the television. You see, he would because he likes to put a bit of a brave face on things, but I don't because I like to see things through to the bitter end, So he'd be going, well, that was an interesting item, wasn't it? Oh, was it? Well, I'm a brain-dead old trout with no sense of humour, apparently, so I wouldn't know, would I? Well, anyway, what's coming up next? Well, if you'd come to the bloody rehearsal, you'd know, wouldn't you? If you'd turned up instead of swanning off shopping, Mr. £17 for one pair of boxer shorts. But it was a strange year for worrying, really, because when I came back from the hospital, they said to me, you can't work for 8 weeks, you can't go to the gym, you can't exercise, you can't lift anything, you can't do anything, you can't even do any housework. I said, I've got to do some housework. And they said, no, if you need anything doing, you will have to ask your husband to do it. I said, oh, doctor, will I still be able to criticise? He said, yeah. Terrible for me, though, no housework. I mean, I love a bit of a poke round with a toilet brush first thing in the morning. I mean, some people say that's not the best way to clean a teapot, but I don't care. But my friend said to me, what are you moaning about? You get to lie on the bed. Mum, you can read any book you like. I said, I can't read any book I like. I said, I've got a whole stack of books I would like to read. And every time I pick up one of mine, looking at me very reproachfully from the bedside table, is my copy of Captain Corelli's friggin' Mandarin. Which I cannot be doing with. And every time I pick up one of mine, it's looking at me going... So in the end, I didn't read anything. I thought, I'll just lie here. I'm just going to watch the television. That's all I can do. Well, I don't know if you've ever tried watching television throughout a whole day. It's draining. It's just... I mean, I'd start about 9:30 in the morning. Once my children had gone to school, I'd start with one of those discussion programmes, one of those whinging programmes like Trisha. And even with the sound off there depressing, you can see the captions, I'm embarrassed by my dad's nose hair. We haven't spoken for 30 years. We fell out over yoghurt. And so I always turn over then to the American ones, and they're much, much worse. Things like Jerry Springer, all these huge, horrible, dysfunctional people all thumping each other. And you turn it on, you think, who told those sumo wrestlers to wear those blouses? Oh, they're women. They're women. And they're all doing these really horrible things to each other and all really proud of themselves. They're sitting there and the woman's going, so you actually made love with your sister's husband? Uh-huh. And this was in a church? Uh-huh. And this was during your mother's funeral? Uh-huh. Or there'll be some blokes out there. So, Frank, you cut off your own penis to win an argument. Uh-huh. So you have no penis? No, but I won an argument. Oh, good. Oh, they had a thing on mismatched couples. They had loads of these little sort of teeny wizened old men of about 99 married to these huge girls of about 17 with huge silicon breasts. And then I turned it over, and then there was one about women and boys, and there was this woman of about 65 married to a boy of about 13, and it said, I'm 65, he's 13, he's the best lover I ever had. And then another one came on, I'm 65, he's 13, he's the best pimp I ever had. I thought, well, I'm sorry, what happened to I'm 65, he's 13, I'm his piano teacher? Wouldn't that be nice? And on Jerry Springer, any excuse to bring women on in their underwear. And on Jerry Springer, the bigger, the better. There's always some item like, my wife is too heavy for skimpy lingerie. And they say, well, let's have a look at it. And on she comes, woo! And I'm thinking, no, she is. She is. I'm thinking she'll not get that G-string off without a tyre lever. And then I have to turn back onto the main channels. In the middle of the morning, it's all makeover programs. It's all your house programs and your garden programs. Then I'm just lying there racked with guilt. I'm thinking, I shouldn't be lying here. You know, I should be tacking a bit of chicken wire over my kitchen cupboards, or I should be cutting out some wacky shapes in MDF and spraying them silver. I should be nailing sheets of perforated zinc over my bathroom windows. I thought they only did that when you'd been evicted, but no. But there's too many of them. I used to really like it when there was just one garden makeover programme. Do you remember there was just Ground Force, and it used to be on BBC Two and nobody much watched it. I used to really, really like that, because they'd turn up with some little house and this poor bloke would be sent away on some pretext, and then they'd go into this little overgrown back garden, and then whoosh, 2 days later it would all be just covered in planks. You know? With one zinc bucket in the middle with a cactus in it. And this poor unsuspecting bugger would come back and go, oh, I've always wanted to sit on a load of 2B1 looking at a wet pebble. And by the way, where are my gooseberry bushes? But no, they're all over the place, these makeover programmes, and the people who present them are considered to be sort of stars in their own right, and they're not. Most of them are just builders. And the only difference between those builders and our builders is that those builders have turned up. I saw this terrible programme a bit ago, and it was called All Star Family Fortunes. And it had two teams. It was makeover people. It had a makeover team, a house team, and a garden team. And you'd never heard of any of them. And I thought, well, I'm sorry, they're not stars. You know, to me, stars are people like Madonna or Elizabeth Taylor. You can't be a star if your only claim to fame is that you've got your own spirit level. But I think the worst programme I saw the whole time I was lying on the bed was this thing called Touch the Truck, which I don't think a lot of people saw. It was a truck, right? And there was a lot of people stood around touching it, like for a long time. And the last person left touching it got it. Now I'm probably making it sound more interesting than what it was, but it was just a lot of people stood around a truck like this. They tried to make it interesting. You know, they had a gay person and a black person and a homeless person and a person with a bad wrist. Oh, they couldn't do it. And it wasn't even in a studio. So you didn't have a studio audience go, woo! It was in a shopping centre. So all you had as an audience were people going past going... And they wouldn't stop, you know, because they'd come to do the shopping. So they'd stop for a bit and then they'd go, come on, brown jacket marks is... But you get some terrible, terrible adverts on in the afternoon, and they're so depressing because they're all aimed at people in debt. Are you finding it difficult to get credit? County court judgment? Struggling with several small, unmanageable loans? Let us lend you some money, and then you can struggle with one huge, unmanageable loan. And there's always quite a few aimed at elderly people. Would you like to release some capital? Sell your house, bugger your grandchildren, go on. And there's always one for a stair lift in the afternoons. No, I love those. I think I'd never be off my stairs if I had one of those. And then there's always another one. Have you seen this one? I don't know if it's just me. Have you seen the one with the bath that opens at the front? Am I missing something with that? It can't just be that you open it up, whoosh, rubber ducks all over the... There must be some system whereby the door, you know, the water drains out, the door opens, you're sitting there. So instead of ruining your carpet, you get hypothermia, I suppose. But the ones I really can't bear are the ones that encourage you to sue for compensation. You know, the ones that say, have you had an injury and it wasn't your fault? Have you been hit over the head with a brick? I was hit over the head with a brick. I was awarded £3,000. I chipped a front tooth on a piece of neighbour's homemade flapjack. I was awarded £5,000. Somebody said my arse looked like the loading bay of Do-It-All. I was awarded £10,000. I opened my bath when it was still full and flooded my carpet and got nothing at all. But usually in the afternoons on Channel 5 there's a nice movie, and they show the movie right the way through with no adverts, so I usually turn on to that. They're not terribly good movies. Some of them are American and they're usually starring girls who've got too old to be in Charlie's Angels. Or there's often that woman who used to be in Cagney and Lacey. I can't remember, not the one that used to go, Christine! Not that one, the other one. Remember? Oh, I used to love her though. Christine! Liked her. Because I could do that voice, and the only other voice I've ever been able to do was Mrs. Bridges from Upstairs Downstairs. Oh, Ruby! I could do that. And lately on the television they've had these terrible, terrible English thrillers, sort of murder mysteries from the mid-1970s, and they're just awful, but they're very easy to follow, because I'm not very good with plots. And they're usually set in London. There's usually about two girls looking for a flat to rent, and they'll be looking through the paper and it'll say, flats to rent. I think, right, I'm with it so far. And they look through the paper and one of them says, oh, this is a cheap flat, Carlton Towers. And the other one goes, oh, Carlton Towers? That's the block of flats where 8 girls who look just like you have been murdered. And I think, if that was me, I wouldn't even go and look at it, you know? I'd say, it's all right, I'll stick on the inflatable bed in my mum's front room. They always go and have a look, don't they? And they have to duck under scene of crime tape to get in. And there'll be like bloody handprints dragging down the walls. And a chalked silhouette of a dead girl on the kitchen floor. And they're still going. It's nice and airy. Do you think my dresser would fit in there between those 2 mocking death threats that somebody's painted on the wall? And she always moves in, doesn't she, the girl? And within minutes, there's a man with an infrared telescope trained on her from across the road. There's a pig's head behind the shower curtain with a blonde wig and lipstick. There's a death threat on the answer phone from her psychopathic twin sister who was killed 10 years ago in a car crash. Does she run swimming from the flat? No. She answers the front door in her bra and pants to a delivery boy with no identification holding a ticking fruit basket. And then some hours later, when she's unaccountably still alive, she's the only person in the block of flats that night. Everybody else is out at a fireworks display in the middle of Regent's Park. A freak electrical storm has wiped out the entire emergency telephone system. The lift isn't working. The basement lights where the washing machine is are flickering on and off. She still goes down there in the middle of the night to do her bloody washing. And I'm going, don't go! You can wear the same pair of tights 2 days running. Just dip the crotch in the wash basin and hang them over the grill. But the thing is, if you watch television all day, you're not tired. So when the time it comes to the evening, you can't properly go to sleep. And I did so, I nod off and I wake up and I've still got the television on and I wake up in the middle of the night and find I'm watching the pornography. I mean, I don't mean to watch the pornography, but they change the channels. At a certain point in the evening, they change the channels. You don't even notice it. You know, UK Gold, Slags and Slappers. When did that happen? Cartoon Network, Knobs and Knockers. Knobs and Knockers used to be a hardware chain called Knobs and Knockers. You remember? It was always full of very disappointed men going, oh, it's a hardware shop. But the thing is, I take my lenses out in the night and I keep nodding off and waking up at the television thinking, what am I looking at? You know, because I see these sort of naked figures with sort of 70s hairdos. I'm thinking, is that the pornography or is it the Open University? Is it perhaps modern languages level 17 unit 3 buying a baguette? Anyway, the trouble is, I wake up properly, like about 4 o'clock in the morning. That's the worst time. If you suffer from any sort of depression, 4 o'clock is the worst time. And I start churning everything over in my mind about my job, my career, my children, my marriage, everything. And I'm thinking about the therapist and what she said to me. She said to me, you know, if you want to put a little bit of a spark back in your marriage, you know, because I've been married a long time, she said, have you ever thought of booking a session with a sex therapist? She said, you can book half an hour with them and they will teach you new sexual techniques. I said, I don't think I could learn any now. I said, I think it'll take me too long. It's taken me about 20 years to remember when we are making love, not to say, did you do the bins? But I said to her, anyway, I said, it's not about sex, it's about romance. You know, I have been married a long time and I would like to put a little bit of the romance back. And she said, well, what about one evening? Should have you never thought of just cooking a little romantic supper just for you and your husband? I said, yes, well, I've thought of it. I said, but I've got children. I said, like a lot of people, you know, I work all day, I finish work, I go to get my children from school, I bring them back. One's not got their PE kit, we go back, we come back again. One's not got their homework, we go back, we come back again. One's got one of his new shoes missing and is wearing another child's hearing aid. I go, what's he doing with that? He's going, he lets me. Yeah, I know. Take that back, we come back, there's 12 cubs on the doorstep waiting to be driven to Whipsnade. They're going, didn't you get the letter? They go, what letter? What letter? We take them, we come back and say, right, where is this letter? He shows me a drawer, 10 years worth of letters I've never seen. The bottom one from 10 years ago says, your child has been identified as the source of the outbreak of nits. Oh, well, too late now. The top one says, your child has been given 3 parts in the school play and we need 3 costumes by tomorrow morning. Oh, good. A Satsuma, a skyscraper and Lady Jane Grey. So there's me, there's your romantic evening going. There's me trying to make the costume. My other child's walking around with a mobile phone clamped to its head. I'm going, where did you get the money to buy that? She says, I hope you don't mind, I sold my bunk beds. Well, I do mind. So I'm there with a piece of shirt cardboard, trying to make an Elizabethan frill, trying to get the one on the phone to come off the phone and clear the table. Won't come off the phone. I have to send her a text message. Please. I said to this woman, I said, it's very hard to be romantic when you've got children. I said, rightly or wrongly, I've put a huge amount of energy into my children because I've always tried to be the perfect mommy. I mean, I'm terrible. I'm so bossy and naggy and shouty, but I've always wanted to be like a mummy in a book. Well, I am, but it's that book about Joan Crawford, unfortunately. I mean, I do try. I try and do everything that they want to do. Like, you know, for years, they've all had their birthday parties in these terrible soft play places, you know, like Wacky Warehouse and Clown Town, Monkey Business, Pirates Playhouse. All their friends have had all their birthday parties in the same places. And I think, for God's sake, have I got to spend every Saturday afternoon in my life in a shed off the North Circular? I can't hear myself think with mad children screaming, the whole place stinking of old wee-wee and Monster Munch. I mean, my trouble is I read too much Enid Blyton when I was little. I've got a very idealised view of what a mummy should be like. I'm always wanting to run in and say, look, darlings, the sun's shining, let's pack a bag, let's go for a picnic, come on. And they're supposed to go, oh, Mummy, you're the best mummy in the world. Hasn't happened yet. But sometimes I try, I go in and say, look, it's a really nice day, should we go for a picnic? And they go... Once I managed to get them out, once I said to them, this summer I said, look, Daddy's away tomorrow. I said, look, why don't we all get in the car really, really early tomorrow morning, we'll drive out to the seaside really early, beat all the traffic, we'll go somewhere we've never been before, we'll play on the beach, we'll have a paddle, we'll have ice cream, we'll have a fantastic time, what do you say? And they said, all right. So the next morning we got up really, really early, we got in the car, we drove out of London, no traffic, we found a beach somewhere we'd never been before, we paddled, we played, we had ice creams. I looked at my watch, it was 9:30 in the morning. I'm thinking, what are we going to do now? Now, if you're ever tempted to try this sort of mad escapade, I just say, don't do it in East Anglia. There's nothing to do. I'd never been there before. I'm never going there again. I'd never seen the point of it as a place. To me, it was just a big landmass. I thought it was designed to stop the people of Hull doing their shopping in London. I didn't know what it was. So there was nothing to do, so I went to the tourist information, I got all these leaflets and I brought them back and we're sitting in the car and it's pissing down by this point, of course. And everything is shut because of the foot and mouth. I'm going to go to Animal Farm, Butterfly Farm, Zoo, closed. Oh, here we are, this is open. Slipper Factory. Quiz trail for the under-12s. Chance to buy rejects and misshapes. All right. Look, here we are, this looks good. All year round adventure park. Water rides, roller coasters, open every day of the year except Christmas Day, Boxing Day and... today. So in the end, there's only one place left open in the whole of East Anglia. When I'm driving towards it, I've got trying to read the little map with one hand, I'm trying to steer with the other hand and smack my children with another hand. I haven't got... Rain is sheeting down, they've been eating non-stop all day. The car is littered with old tin cans and crisp packets, sweet wrappers. The whole car is like a shanty town. It's like a shanty town. You wouldn't be surprised to see Davina McCall down by the gear lever for comic relief crying. This book. And my children are in the back, numb with sugar. Cadbury's cream eggs hanging out them. I think, how has this happened? You know, I never actually meant to bring them up like this. You know, when they were born, I was really strict about everything. You know, they were brought up on things like filtered water and organic stone ground muesli. Now they won't even eat chips because a little no-old bastard at school told them a potato was a vegetable. Anyway, I finally get to this place and I say, come on kids, out we get. We're standing in the rain. I say, look, this is going to be good. The tungsten and ball bearing experience. And all all it is just a big old factory, and they just crossed out the word factory and written in the word experience. And there's two cartoon figures, two cardboard cutouts in the doorway, Tommy Tungsten and Bobby Ball Bearing. And I'm just stood in the middle. I just want to burst into tears. I want to go, I'm cold, I'm wet, I've dented the back of my car, reversing into a bollard because I was so busy smacking my children I wasn't looking where I was going. I'm in the middle of a big old shed in East Anglia looking at ball bearings. But you don't do that. You try and hold it together. You know, you're a mother. You try and make it a fun, interesting, educational experience. You know, kids, come look at this glass case. Come look at this. Look. See how the design of the protective telephone casing has altered since 1916? I said to the woman, I said, this is very hard, actually, to be romantic when you spend your whole days doing things like that. And she said, well, I wouldn't recommend this to everybody. She said, but have you ever thought, you know, if you want to put a little bit of a spark back in your marriage, have you ever thought of having an affair? It can work. I said, what, sleeping with somebody else? And she said, yeah. I said, no, I haven't thought of it. I said, A, because I don't want to, and B, I've been sleeping with the same person now since I was 23. I said, have you any idea of the work I would have to do on myself? I said, I'm already doing everything I know how to do. I said, I'm already exercising all the time. I'm always doing new things, and every new thing I do, I have to, you know, spend some money. Like I do cycling, I've had to buy a bike. I do yoga, I've had to buy a mat. I do step classes, I've had to buy special trainers. And there's only about one thing left I haven't done that wouldn't cost me any more money, and that would be belly dancing. In fact, I could supply spares for them. But I said, no, you don't need to do anything like that. It's just marvellous underwear now. You should get these special support tights that hold your legs in, and special body shaper things that squinch you in the middle. I said, if they squinch me in the middle, where will the rest of me go? I said, my breasts will be up here. I have to breathe through a straw. I said, I know you can get these knickers that do everything. What happens when you take them off? It'd be like a dinghy coming down from Air Sea Rescue. I said, and even if I could sleep with somebody, which I don't think I could, I said, what's going to happen the next morning? I said, he's not going to understand our bathroom arrangements, is he? You know, it's overall having a night of passion. The next morning he gets up and I'm going, don't flush, I want one. I said to her, it's not about sex, it's about romance. She said, all right, I hear what you're saying. She said, now you have a little roof terrace in your house. I said, yeah, we have a little roof terrace outside our bedroom. She said, well, one evening, nice moonlit night, when the children are asleep, she said, go up to your roof terrace, nice bottle of champagne, why don't you read romantic poetry to each other? I said, because we won't be able to bloody read it, that's why. I said, I can't see anything. He always has his wrong glasses on. I said, he's got glasses for work, glasses for reading, glasses for television. He's never got the right glasses on in the right room at the right time. He says to him, what does that say, Jeff? Oh, I don't know, I need to get me other glasses. Who's that on the television, Jeff? Oh, I don't know, I need to get me other glasses. I said, and anyway, I said, actually, we're falling to pieces now. I said, and this is true. I said, in the same month as I had a hysterectomy, he had a hernia repair. I said, what's happening to us? We're turning into like a joke couple off a seaside postcard. Hysterectomies and hernias. We're only missing varicose veins and dentures. We'll have the full set. I said to her, we are falling to pieces. That he's got his hernia, plus he's got something wrong with his Achilles tendon, so he limps. I've got my hysterectomy, plus I damaged my hip exercising too soon after my operation. They were quite cross with me. They said, didn't you realise your hip was joined onto your pelvis? I said, no, nobody ever mentioned that. Neither of us can see anything. We both got good teeth, but our gums are falling to pieces. There's something wrong with my back. If I stay too long in the same position, it locks, and then I can't bend over. I've lately become allergic to things like pollution and perfume, and if I breathe them in, it makes me sneeze, and if I sneeze, I wet myself. Plus, I've got a bunion. I said, don't tell us to have a romantic evening at home. I said, if we get all dressed up, he'll have a dinner jacket on and tracksuit bottoms because of his hernia. I'll have a nice dress, tights and slippers with a big hole cut in the middle. Here. I said, don't tell us to go out dancing. We've only got one fully operative leg between us. I said, he could stand on it and I could push him round on it. But I'm not allowed to push anything. He could carry me upstairs, but he's not allowed to lift anything. So if we do manage to get upstairs by roping ourselves to the banisters and going hand over hand, we'll get to the top, get out the romantic portrait, he'll have his wrong glasses on, I'll have to come back down again. By the time I've got them and gone back up again, he'll have nodded off. If I lie there too long waiting for him to wake up, my back will lock and I won't be able to bend over. If we have a bottle of champagne, he'll be able to read the label, but he won't be able to pull the cork out. I'll be able to get it out of the ice bucket, but I won't be able to bend forward to pour it. If we have a big smooch, our teeth will bang together and he'll lose 2 of his back molars. Then I'll breathe in his aftershave and then I'll sneeze and then I'll wet myself. And then, if by God's good grace we do manage to get it together, at the end I'll say to him, did you have an orgasm? And say, oh, I don't know, you need to get me the glasses. That's it, good night. I was on the hop there. Oh, do you think I'm awful bonking my keyboards playing? I'm getting married in a week. No, I'm only kidding. I'm not getting married for 10 days. You all covered up? Yes. The baps are back in the bread bin. Now, we're going to finish with a little holiday song, which I wrote. Now, before I wrote this, we used to finish on our luxury liner, The Watery Queen, with a very emotional medley of Ave Maria, Bless This House, and Agadoo. And my friend Alison, it was a complete scream. She says, considering what most folk go on holiday to do, never mind Agadoo, it should be Shagadoo. And I said, well, that's given me an idea now. So I've written this little song, which I'm dedicating to my mother, who actually had a holiday romance, which resulted in the birth of my good self, i.e. myself. She actually fell pregnant in the middle of one of the first package holidays out of Manchester to Torremolinos, in the middle of a swimming pool on a lilo. So, well done, Mum. Now, this song, I have to say, however much we love this country of ours, and I do, you have to admit, it rains, doesn't it? Water comes out of the sky, she added pointlessly. And when it rains, we just want to get away, don't we? Want to get somewhere hot. We want to get hot, get wet, get pissed, get shagging. Take it away, madam. Now, it's got a bit of a sort of Randy Crawford feel about it to start with, sort of rainy night in Georgia sort of feel, and then it hots up. Okay. Empty days and rainy nights could rinse out a pair of tights or have a beer, but you're not here. I work all night and work all day, looks good on my resume. I'm tired of rain, I'm gonna catch a plane today. I'm having a holiday, I'm packing my blues away. My dreams can go hip hooray, 'cause they're coming too. My ticket's right in my hand, I'm headed for sun and sand. It's a pity I'm on remand, but what can you do? Don't tell me who's called or faxed, don't tell me whose job's been axed. I'm having my hoo-ha waxed, that's top of my list. I'm leaving my plants behind, all my uncles and aunts behind. I could leave my pants behind, they'll never be missed. Shed those superstitions, find some new positions. Let your inhibitions take flight. Ooh, ah, lose your armor, ditch that last pajama. Let's go shag-a-rama tonight. You know, time was when nobody gave a damn. Nobody looked my way and nobody cared. But now, because I am what I damn well am, I'm saying, who are you? Look out, I'm coming through. I'm having a holiday, I'm packing the cold away. My cherry is dead glacé, I wanna get hot, hot, hot. I'm going where Brits abound, where glamour and glitz abound. I'll be waving
waving my bits around as likely as not. Don't be arty-farty, let's get down and party. Smell that high karate wave. Ooh, don't be monastic, your hand my elastic. Let's go shagatastic today. You know, time was when nobody gave a damn. Nobody looked my way and nobody cared. But now, because I'm womanly, warm and glam, you'll never see me cry. Because I'm flying high, I'm having a holiday. As soon as I land, I'll say, dip your ladle in my consomme. Come and see what I've got. Come and hold me tightly. Let's go 5 times nightly. Are you Richard Whiteley or not? Don't be arty-farty. Let's get down and party. Smell that high karate wave. Ooh, don't be monastic. Your hand my elastic. Let's go shagatastic today. I'm gonna wear halter necks. I'm gonna have specs like Bex. I'm gonna have oral sex to the sound of the sea. With wet weed or wanker on the Costa Blanca. You can drop your anchor with me. Shed those superstitions. Find some new positions. Let your inhibitions take flight. Ooh, lose your armor. Ditch that last pajama. Let's go shagarama tonight. We're having a holiday. We're gonna go all the way. Get stand in your crack, I say, and don't make a fuss. Don't be melancholic. Get drunk, frig and frolic. Shag, shag, shagaholic with us. Shed those superstitions. Find some new positions. Let your inhibitions take flight. Ooh, lose your armor. Ditch that last pajama. Let's go shagarama tonight. Shagarama tonight. Welcome to Body Conscious Fitness Facility. Sorry I'm a bit late. Sorry if you expect to see Marilyn with breasts. My face had a bit of an accident. You might have noticed it was like a power cut in the gym about an hour ago. If you're working on any of the machines, you might have noticed like they cut out dead suddenly. Well, Marilyn was unfortunately running on the treadmill at the time. Luckily, the door she was catapulted through was open. And she landed in the middle of a body conditioning class, bums and tums, on 2 newcomers, so it's alright. Anyway, I'm Pat. I've been working at Body Conscious Fitness Facility Woo for 3 days now. Oh, hello. You've probably seen me topping up the shower gel in the changing rooms, and I'm the one who fishes out the long hairs out the wash basin, pins them up on the notice board in case anybody wants them back. That red one with the grey end is still there, by the way. Anyway, I've just got to tell you, I've never actually done this aerobics class before. But I've never done any aerobics class before. But I've never done any exercise before. Because up until 3 days ago, I was working in a bakery on the sandwich counter. But as I said to Marilyn, I'm quite strong because I like bringing in the bread. And I'm quite flexible because I like reaching forward for the tomatoes and twisting around for the margarine. Tomatoes, margarine, tuna and sweet corn, paper bags, try it. Tomatoes, margarine, tuna and sweet corn, paper bags, tomatoes, margarine, tuna and sweet corn, paper bags. And stretch. That Impulse body spray, it's not working on me. And stretch. Actually, I'm not going to do that one because I had jacket beans and cheese for me dinner. Okay. Right, well this this is a fusion class. It combines the spirituality of yoga with the viciousness of urban street fighting. Starts like this. As if you're on 2 mobile phones, she says to me. I said, that's a first. I've never seen anybody with 2 even in a poncy dump like this. That means counting down from 4. That means taking from the top. That means taking from the top halfway through. That means calling an ambulance for having a bleeding heart attack. Okay, keep it small. 4, 3, don't knock yourself. Here's your yoga. Very, very spiritual. Think about your breathing. Think about your boyfriend. What a stupid bastard. Kick him in the ghoulies. No. Hand punch. Can't see me watch now. I've got to stop in a minute anyway. I've got to go and unblock the drain in the men's shower. Some poncy bastard shaving his back again. Anyway, let's take it from the top. Last chance. Get your heart rate up. Give it some willy. Okay, I'm going to. I'm ready. Counting down. 4, 3, 4, 3, 2, and go!